Happy New Year! This is the Beasts of the NFC East podcast, and the Week 17 concluded at the end of the year. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. Jeremy Goode, I love to say this. What is good? What is good with you?
Not much is going right now.
Your college team lost in the playoff, and the Eagles were upset.
Yeah.
Got bested by the better bird team.
The Eagles had control of the second seed. They just had to beat Arizona at home. They just said they'd have to beat the Giants on the road. But the Giants, we'll see, because that was a turf. That field has taken so many injuries, so it was going to be concerned no matter what. Now it probably doesn't matter. Alabama lost. My alma mater for grad school. So not great. Everything kind of hit the fan all at once. But it's just it's unfortunate. It's especially the way the Eagles are going, to say the least.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Cowboys edge out the Lions to take number one in the NFC East with the help of the refs, which we'll get into because that's probably the most controversial.
The refs also helped Arizona, by the way. We'll get into that, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, we can get another. The refs suck. The refs suck. That's I think all NFL fans are just debating that right now.
Yeah.
Sam Howell lucked into one more start for the Commanders, which depending on
Brissett was hurt, right?
Yeah,
right.
Brissett got hurt, so Howell got another chance, and I think only further proved why he shouldn't be their starting quarterback moving forward. And the Giants played probably the most exciting loss and most fun loss that I've ever seen as a fan. I think like rooting for a competitive loss that was like as competitive as it could have been. I think Tank Rod Taylor helped us in the end in that 2-point conversion. Yeah. And then also it helped having Mason Crosby, who can barely kick these days, also, secure us a loss. There's a lot of stuff to get into. We're going to start with the Cowboys and Lions game. But, hey, the Tankathon is at a place right now, before we get into things, where the Giants, depending on how this week goes, have a very high chance of moving to number 3 in the NFL draft, which is Marvin Harrison Jr. territory, baby. But
such a loser organization where a few weeks ago you tried to backdoor into the playoffs, and now it's all about the 3 pick. I hope the Eagles will.
Hey, you see this shirt? It says optimistic, because that's what I'm being optimistic no matter what happens. Optimistic.
Unbelievable.
I just try to keep my fashion in line with my NFL views.
Unbelievable.
But let's get started with the Saturday night game,
yeah.
The lone Saturday NFL game this week, and one of the more exciting and also like historic games. But like I said, an historically tragic ending with the Lions going to Dallas, where the refs are usually on their side, and losing last second, 19-20 to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are victorious. You want to get the ref thing? I think we should just get this ref thing out of the way because that's what everybody's talking about. Do you want to get into it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown scores a touchdown. 23 seconds left. The game is on the line, and Taylor Decker goes up to the ref along with 3 other linemen, and he rubs his belly and he says, "Report," which apparently before the game, Dan Campbell, who said this to multiple refs in pre-meetings, which I guess Brad Allen wasn't there, the head referee, saying somebody's going to come up. It's going to be Taylor Decker. He's going to say report. He's going to rub his stomach. He's reporting to be eligible on that play. Go for the 2-point conversion. They don't want to tie it and go into overtime. They want to win the game. They play that play. Successful. Lions win. Catch to Taylor Decker. Oh, wait, no. The ref says he was ineligible. So they get 5 yards back. They go for it for 2 again. Right? They go for it for 2?
Yes.
And then Micah Parsons jumps offside. Very blatant. They essentially get back to where they were, but now they don't have that trick play off their sleeve with Taylor Decker. Mm-hmm. And ultimately it was an incomplete pass, and the Cowboys end up winning the game. There's a lot of things here. Like, the repercussions have already been made. Brad Allen's crew now is not going to be refereeing any playoff games, which they originally were supposed to.
Right.
Like everybody backed this. There is like some people saying that one of the referees made a mistake, and because they said what was it, Tipper, Skipper, one of the linemen, Skipper, was like the one that they announced as being eligible, who was like reporting as eligible throughout like the entire game. So that's why the Cowboys defense didn't defend him, because they didn't list Taylor Decker's number, which they should have, because he reported.
Yep.
So it's just, all in all, it's just it's just, especially because that would essentially move the Lions to what, the 2 seed.
Oh yeah.
And then it also gives the Eagles a chance to remain the 1 seed in the NFC East. So there's a lot of repercussions based on that final play.
There was, yes. Good points. I'll be as transparent and honest as possible. I was rooting for the Cowboys because I assumed the Eagles were going to beat Arizona and then the Giants, and then they would have had the 2 seed. So from that standpoint, I was okay with the call. Obviously, from an NFL honest, like it's awful for the refs. I don't know like what else to say at this. They're remarkably bad at getting the right call in so many fashions. You can't review any of it because the NFL doesn't take any accountability. You can only challenge certain plays, but you can't challenge penalties, which is absurd, and pass interferences. You used to a few years ago, then they got rid of it. There needs to be reform when it comes to officiating in the NFL. I've been saying it for years. Everybody feels that way. Everybody's been screwed, of course. I think some teams more than others. That's a topic. That's a different topic. But everybody has felt like awful officiating. And I'm not saying like just like missing a call here and there, which is normal. I'm talking about missing big plays at big times that are so obvious. And this was big. This costed Detroit.
The 2 seed.
Yeah, the 2 seed. And it could haunt them if they have to travel in a certain time of the year during the playoffs when maybe the game could have been at home. So not great. It's too many times this is happening. It's every sport officiating kind of stinks. The NFL, though, with all the money that's being pumped in, Goodell makes like $60 million a year just off of the likeness of the NFL. And just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's the referees suck. The other really controversial play, which I guess we'll get into that before we praise, because honestly, Ceedee Lamb deserves his flowers, as I've been saying all season.
Yes.
One of the best wide receivers in the league. Historically, the Cowboys have been a franchise who's always had legendary Hall of Fame receivers. And Ceedee Lamb this year takes the single season record with 122 receptions and 1,651 receiving yards, both taking the receptions and the receiving yards records for the best in Cowboys history, which with the likes of Michael Irvin and Dez Bryant, so on and so forth. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And he's also number 2 in the league right now in terms of receiving yards, surpassing A.J. Brown, who seemed like he kind of had that spot secure. But he went off winning. I know my league champion fantasy, the championship, with 13 receptions, 227 yards, and a touchdown. And he could have had 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I don't know if this play is also controversial, but I think even Ceedee Lamb agreed. He's going in for a touchdown, fumbles it as he's trying to pass the barrier, and it goes through the end zone, and it ends up being a touchback for Detroit. Yep. And even Ceedee Lamb said that should be a fumble touchback. Otherwise, players could just start running towards the end zone and throwing it out of bounds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like the rule. It doesn't happen often either. It's an interesting rule. It makes sense too, because if you fumble the end zone, it's like why should you get at the 1? So yeah, it's for the Eagles, it's been more of a blessing. Like they've been able to cause those fumbles where they haven't been victim to it, which is nice. I like the rule. It definitely sucks if you're the team that it happens to. Don't get me wrong, but I like that rule a lot.
Yeah, but Ceedee Lamb an amazing performance. Even Dak Prescott continues to have an amazing performance. 26 for 38, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But, ultimately it was better than Jared Goff, which I think we said, like, Jared Goff and his interceptions, man, like, there's just some times where he plays like he deserves to be, one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and then with these costly interceptions, man, it's
Yeah, not as many
that's
moments
just how
for
the
him
game
this year
goes.
where he's been like truly, truly dreadful. Like you said,
Mm,
but there are, yeah, they're often enough where like you have to note it. It usually happens against good teams too. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, two competitive teams in Dallas. I wonder if it's in Detroit, if it's a different outcome.
yeah, and it's so now what? The Cowboys have the 3 seed, Lions the 2 seed.
No, Dallas has a 2 seed.
Wait, oh yeah, yeah. What am I
Because
saying? Dallas has the 2 seed. Lions
yeah,
have the 3
right,
seed
right.
now. Yeah, yeah. That's how it got
Yep.
switched. Um, yeah. So, and especially because Dallas has been what, undefeated at home too this
Yes.
year, right? Yeah.
It's
So like
going.
that's huge. There's so many implications with that controversial call at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm excited. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I probably also am like, you know what, that's kind of BS, but
Yeah, they
it's
should.
what it is. It is.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a Dallas fan, I'd be. I guess the best thing for them to do is have home games in the playoffs because they don't lose there. But they're and as an Eagles fan too. Like obviously we have a lot of holes in our boat, so we're sinking as well. I think Dallas has too many issues though. I don't think they're gonna. I think if they were to go up against San Francisco, um, it would be a loss for them. But they're
I mean, we've already seen it this year. Yeah, they
yeah,
got
they
destroyed
lose
by San Francisco.
recently too. Lose to the Dolphins, close game. Got smacked by the
Mhm.
Bills. Seahawks was
Yeah,
close. They and they're gonna win the East. So, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, especially because we'll talk about the next team, but the Cowboys are playing the Commanders next week, and it would be kind of beneficial if like they had the noon game, but we're both the Cowboys and Commanders are playing at 4:25 Eastern, and the Giants and the Eagles are playing at 4:25 Eastern.
Right?
So if you're the Eagles, you could theoretically bench your players, but I
But
don't think you guys are. I don't see why
maybe
you
during
would.
the third.
Maybe at
Yeah,
halftime.
they don't not in the
Yeah.
beginning. That's why I wish they.
I mean, regardless, you'll probably
That's why I wish they
you'll
pushed us to
probably
one
lose to the
o'clock.
Giants. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because that's the thing is like if the Cowboys win, which I mean, I think everybody is leaning towards the Cowboys. Like this Commanders team is reaching the probably most miserable form it's been in all
Yeah,
year, which has not been great.
yeah,
Um,
they're bad.
yeah. So I mean, it's just really defining this NFC East playoff picture and the future too. Because as of right now, we got. Oh no, never mind. But I mean, the Eagles play the Bucks as of right now.
Yes.
So I mean, you guys could be making your way through there, and playing the Cowboys. Other things to note here: Brandon Cooks, gets another touchdown. I feel like he's kind of been a touchdown machine. That brings him to 7 touchdowns on the year, which is pretty solid for your number 2
Pretty
guy.
solid considering he had like
Um,
none in the first half, right? Yeah.
yeah, no, he's really like kind of coming to his own, and Jake Ferguson continues to be that guy. He kind of had a quiet day. Tony Pollard, I think we say this every single week. Like he's just like not that guy.
Yeah.
This is no exception. Like still average 3 yards per carry on 16 carries. Like he's their lead back. Like they're not really giving any. Rico Dowdle didn't even touch the ball. I don't know. He must not have played. Maybe. Um, Deuce Vaughn continues to be nothing. He
They don't have
like
much.
they don't give him enough to get him going. But
It's hard to even give
Deuce
him
Vaughn is
anything, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
they yeah, I wonder if yeah, I think if teams kind of game plan to like make them try to run. I don't know how you do that, but just like coverage, strong man coverage, maybe cover 3, cover 4 against Dallas seems like a good strategy because yeah, They have nothing yet. They the week before against the Dolphins, they had like 8 rushers, including like Lamb, Cooks, and like other guys. And this
Yeah.
week, Pollard, Dak took a few. They did something with Ceedee and Deuce, but they don't
Yeah.
have much on the ground to work with.
No. And I think that like that's something, especially playing teams like the Niners, like you want to control the clock. They have an explosive offense. Um, and then the same thing with the Lions. Like they were able to, their defense played very well against the Lions, all things considering, with how explosive this Lions team is. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs was inefficient on the ground. David Montgomery was, he's kind of a harder runner. He had a decent game. Sam Laporta, just like, man, I love Sam Laporta. I think he broke a bunch of records this week, being one of the best rookie tight ends
Mm-hmm.
of all time. With, I think he's in the rookie receivers that have over 800 yards, over 9 touchdowns, and over 80 receptions. I think it's like him, OBJ, and Michael Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Jamar Chase. But yeah, I mean, he had a good day too. But yeah, it was the Cowboys take it, and I mean, good for them. Like, to be honest, this is probably like the most dominant the Cowboys have been going into a postseason since, I think, Dak and Zeke's rookie year. I feel like that was a team that seemed like it was destined for the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. Would you agree there?
I guess I forget 2 years ago, in 2021 how good they were. I'd have to look more at the rosters and whatnot. Um, yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, maybe that rookie Dallas team had a lot going for them.
Yeah, I mean, because Zeke was like, that was like one of Zeke's best seasons too
Yeah,
as a
but
rookie.
two
So,
years
like, they had
ago,
this like,
2 years ago too, they were giving. I think Pollard was getting touches early in his career. And he was working well off of Zeke and Zeke. So I don't know. It's interesting. Defensively, yeah, I would think so with Dallas at least. And it
yeah,
helps to have Dan Quinn for them. And I don't think he'll be around much longer. I think he'd get a head coaching job. And if he doesn't,
yeah,
I would protest the NFL because whenever people want coaches from the Eagles, they just take them. But yeah, defensively, I would agree. Offensively, maybe. I don't love that they don't really have another weapon to go along with Ceedee Lamb. They did have Amari Cooper. Obviously, he's been great since getting to Cleveland, even at
yeah.
older ages, and he was very good in Dallas too. Obviously, I like Jake Ferguson. He's good, young. I like Cooks, but I don't love him this year as a legit second option.
He's not like a 1A, 1B. Like, I mean, he's like a wide receiver 3
Right,
on
that's what I think.
most of these playoff teams.
He,
Like, think about the 49ers.
yeah,
He's a wide receiver 3.
I think he's
Lions, even the Lions, I feel like he's like a wide receiver. He's not like a clear 2 with all these other
yeah.
options.
Lions have some weapons. I like what the Lions are doing, but
We're Giants are out. I'm rooting for a Lions Browns Super Bowl. Like that would be amazing.
yeah.
Lions Browns Super Bowl with 2 like quarterbacks that teams threw away too, with Jared Goff and
Well, it's wild
Joe
too because
Flacco.
when the
Like,
Eagles brought in Flacco several years ago, um, he was cooked, and then he goes to the Jets, and kind of similar, like a little more, maybe
he was an upgrade over Zach
I
Wilson,
guess,
though.
but
So
like still like not like
yeah,
great. Now he looks like boy wonder. I mean, this guy was awful
yeah,
with the Eagles in training camp a few years ago. We got like a 5th round pick for him before the season started. It was nice, but what a story that is.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You like to see these success stories. But yeah, I think that's enough. There's not really much else to really say here for the Cowboys. Brandon Aubrey kicked another beautiful 50-yard field
He's
goal.
good. It
Um,
definitely helps to kick in that
yeah,
stadium, though, with the
yeah,
climate being controlled. It's also wired too. Like you look at other domes, like the Superdome with the Saints. It's more packed in a little bit. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. I would imagine like AT&T is optimal kicking for any kicker. And I bet the numbers are
Yeah.
up there more than anywhere else. But but he's still like, I mean, this guy's amazing. Like he drills him from 55 dead on with room. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wild what he is doing.
Yeah, especially with like the Giants being on their fourth kicker, it's like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah.
disgusting. Like you realize how much kicking is a
Oh yeah.
factor, and especially with a cheat code from 50, like that determines a lot of
Yep.
games. I mean, look at it. This game alone was
Yeah.
down to field
No
goals.
doubt.
But let's move on to probably the least watched of these games and the most lopsided, I would say,
Yes.
um,
It was
would
thirteen
be the
ten at the half.
yes, it was. It was a lot closer throughout, and then it took away. But yeah, the 49ers go to Washington and beat the Commanders at FedEx Field 27-10. Like you said, I mean, at half, it was 13-10. Washington was down 3, and like it was 10-10 up until like the last 20 seconds in the second quarter.
Yes.
And then from there, I believe it was like a Sam Howell red zone interception that just kind of led to just the dominance of the 49ers from there. And the Commanders did nothing in the second half.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think San Francisco didn't want to be there. They didn't. They traveled 3,000 miles. It's tough to play bad
Mhm.
teams in the NFL. It's tough to travel across the country to do it too. It's just hard to get
Yeah.
motivated. Like it's not an excuse. It's certainly not an excuse to lose. It's just like a lot of teams. It's just like tough to mentally get into it. I think that's what San Francisco did. They're a better team than that, obviously. Um, Ultimately took care of business, but yeah, bad. Sam Howell got another chance going against pretty good defense.
Yeah.
I'll try to find those numbers and see what.
Yeah. So it was 17-28 for 169 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions, like I said, these weren't like some fluky intercept. Like these were timely interceptions that set the tide of the game. Um, they weren't like garbage time Hail Marys that turned into interceptions. They were like, you're about to score and go up on the 49ers. And instead, it turns into points for them, and you guys don't end up scoring for the rest of the game. So
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I think, I mean, what? It was probably even like 5 weeks ago where we were saying Sam Howell has done enough to be the quarterback next year.
yeah,
Now, I think the biggest storyline is, too, with the Patriots and the Cardinals, winning, the Commanders are at pick. Well, the Patriots didn't win, but prior, the Patriots or the Commanders are now at pick number
yeah,
2. So they're going, and I think Rivera's gone, like we've said. Maybe Bieniemy is brought back. I know that there's some people try to like do this ideal fixing
right.
the Commanders, but I don't think with like Drake May, who people say would have probably been the number 1 quarterback taken last year, even with Bryce Young, and then Caleb Williams, that they're going to be moving on from Sam Howell, which would be hilarious. And I think we've said this before too, but like moving on Sam Howell to like his UNC successor and Drake May would just be so funny that they just keep on going North Carolina quarterbacks.
Yeah, geez. If you're Sam Howell in that situation, you would need a
Depressing.
yeah, you would need a therapist because that would be really tough to go through. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, not Hal wasn't accurate enough against San Francisco, regardless of his abilities, regardless of about how San Francisco's just a better team than him. With their defense, just not accurate enough. Not enough yards through the air. Running the ball statistically okay, but they didn't stick with it. They only ran the ball 13 times between Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Um, yeah, they're it's a lot of talent in that offense bleeding away at the receivers. Again, I think they still need more.
Yeah. Jahan Dotson, like not even having 1 reception. It's like it's just blasphemy. If I'm a Commanders fan, it's like you're not only are you losing, but you're not even like Terry McLaurin. Yeah, he gets a touchdown. He leads the league or leads the team in receiving, like getting back. Like the game plan should be Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel, mix him in there, but like Jahan Dotson needs to be. He was targeted, but still no receptions, and it's like I don't know. It's frustrating, and maybe it's because Sam Howell's the guy pumping out the ball. Because you saw with Jacoby Brissett, I feel like McLaurin was getting more active,
Yeah,
and I feel like it's so. I think it is a Howell thing. He was only sacked one time, so hey, he's getting better at the sacks. Like that's
yeah,
good, and maybe that's why these numbers are low. I wonder if the enemy is trying to like protect him from those sacks and getting the ball out quicker because there wasn't really many explosive
right,
plays
and yeah,
or any at
right.
all.
Especially when you get the ball quicker, usually it's hard to get bigger plays. A lot of times you see smaller, but yeah, at least you'd be getting yards. But yeah, um, whatever it was, 168 yards in the air, and to not really have much of a well. Let me see what the uh, yeah, to not really have much of a run game offense. Uh, Not enough for either the passing or rushing game for them. Uh, they need a lot. They need to do defense. They need a new offensive line. They need a new
I
quarterback.
mean, do you trade back? Like, I don't know. Do you get Drake May? Do you trade like? Because honestly, if I'm a Commanders fan, I don't think that like drafting Drake May and putting him in the also because I think Drake May is more of a developmental prospect. Like he has all the
Me
tools,
too.
but
I don't
like
love any of the
hasn't.
quarterbacks. I'm warming more to Caleb Williams because there's a lot of growth that he could get to. But like besides him, I don't really love any other quarterbacks. And if you're that high,
I don't know. I like Jaden Daniels and I like Michael Penix a
I
lot,
like Jaden Daniels, but I
but
don't think there's much like I don't think his ceiling's that high. But I think what he offers you right now, pretty good. But I don't think his ceiling's like high enough. Like going forward, I think he's really done what he can, and he should use his legs in the NFL because it makes a difference. And I like Michael Penix too. It's just I'm concerned with
yeah,
this injury history stuff.
it's
And
fair. Yeah.
just a him.
I think he's more of a flyer second round type guy. But even though he doesn't get sacked, you also don't want to put him behind an atrocious line with that
Yeah,
knee.
no
That's
doubt they
terrible.
need a lot.
He also stopped running the ball as much too, which like helps for him. But
I feel
I don't, dude. Maybe if you're the Commanders, you just trade out of two and you stack up picks. You already traded Chase Young and Montez Sweat, so like your window, like you're kicking the can for your window down the line. You're just trying to
yeah,
build
but
up
they've
these
done it so
prospects.
much. Like they've won the division like once in the last 15 years, and it was kind of fluky that year where like all the teams kind of stunk. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't know. It feels weird because like I even think they need to upgrade like at their offensive playmakers. Besides McLaurin, you keep him, but like I mean, you hope Dotson's like a good player, but I don't know. And like
yeah. Second
Curtis
second
Daniel's a
year
free
first
agent. I
rounder.
don't think he's like the future there either. You don't really have like an established running back.
Like Brian, yeah, Brian Robinson is a fun, hard running, like hard
I think
nosed
he's a good. I think
out
he's a
running
good
back.
two
He's not
punch
like
for
yeah, he's not a
that's
game changer
someone,
by any
but he
means.
can complement a starter really well. Like he can still give you
Yeah,
10 carries a game, eight to
yeah,
10. But he is a nice punch. It needs a borderline starter in that way. But yeah, a lot of holes. I mean, it's weird, but still a lot of talent for what they have. Too much talent to be this bad, but they defy gravity. I guess if that's
yeah,
the right term.
uh, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really much else. Well, once we get into the off season, because I think like this team is like we kind of have to see where they go. We'll probably know by the time that we record next week's episode, Ron Rivera's fate.
Yes,
You
he's
know,
done.
the
I
direction
will tell you
there.
his fate right now.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah, well, he's fired. Yeah, but more so, like, are they going to give Bieniemy
Yeah,
an
that'll be
interview for head
interesting. That'll
coach?
be interesting.
Yeah, and I think that'll kind of shape where we're
I mean,
moving or where
go
this
get a win though next
franchise
week
is moving.
against Cowboys.
Hey, you know what? No, I don't think so. It is in Washington, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
It is. It is in Washington.
yeah.
Is that going to make a difference? It didn't make a difference with the 49ers. It was,
Maybe
hey,
they get
it was close in
maybe
the
they
beginning.
get extra 3 points. Yeah,
Yeah,
not good.
but yeah, let's go to the most exciting game this of this slate. The Los Angeles Rams travel to MetLife Stadium, where they ultimately win 26-25 despite the Giants having 2 opportunities to win in the last minute and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Against the
it
hot
was.
Rams team, probably one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I said this before. This was one of the most exciting and fun to watch losses I think I've ever had. Like Tyrod Taylor looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Defense looked
Mm-hmm.
great. No, not great. The defense was probably but it was still
I
fun.
get
It
what you
wasn't like
say.
they were
Yep.
the Rams were running away from it. Gunnar Olszewski had a sick punt return, the first punt
I
return
saw that.
touchdown which the Giants had
Yes.
since 2015 from Dwayne Harris, who was a Pro Bowler that year.
Also, former Cowboy Dwayne Harris.
Yeah, I like Dwayne Harris, man. He was fun. Darius Slayton had another huge reception. I think it was 86 yards. I think that 80 yards, and became the second Giant to surpass 100 yards this season. Jalen Hyatt looked really good. He had a 40-yard catch that was taken back on a holding call,
Right.
which sucks.
Yep.
And Wan'Dale Robinson had a sick touchdown. Like Wan'Dale and there was another run and play too. That was that was a 24-yard touchdown, and he was just weaving through. It just gave me hope for Wan'Dale Robinson in our future. Like, he's fun.
You're welcome,
He's
Giants
joysticky.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You called it. You did call it. And I was like, I don't know, man. And he also had a great game receiving. Like, he finished the day with just about 90 yards.
Dozen catches. Yeah.
Scrimmage. Yeah. I mean, they were good. It was good. But yeah, ultimately we lost, and
yes.
I don't even. We lost on. So Gunnar Olszewski gets that touchdown, and Brian Dable's like, "Listen, go big or go home." Like, yeah, we could tie it up. Mason Crosby's already missed some kicks at this point. The Rams kicker missed some kicks at this point, and Tyrod Taylor rolls out to his right for the 2-point conversion for the win. And he could easily run it in. Like, he has an open lane to run it in. Instead, he tosses it to Saquon. I honestly think Saquon probably could have hauled it in. It was definitely beyond his reach. And Tyrod Taylor ultimately took the blame for that. He said it was his fault. Regardless. Yeah. And Tyrod Taylor had some great plays with his legs too. 6 carries for 40 yards. He also had a huge run called back too, I think, on another Daniel Bellinger holding call, which I love Bellinger. He's a good blocking tight end, which is also good in the short game too. But yeah, that stuff sucks, dude. Like, a beautiful play that especially the Jalen Hyatt one, that was just a seed, man. And it's just it looked like him catching that ball, getting that distance, showing what he could be as a downfield receiver, especially in decently tight coverage. And for that to be called back sucks.
Yeah, holding calls absolutely kill.
Yeah. And it's rough. And Dane Belton, man, dude. So Jason Pinnock goes down, and actually Jason Pinnock, who I've loved, and he's had an amazing year for the Giants. One of the bright spots of somebody who we picked up off the Jets practice squad last year, converted him to safety. He was kind of doing cornerback. Dane Belton is a second-year player. We got him in the 5th round, I think, out of 5th or 6th round out of Iowa 2 years ago. And I liked him a lot. I thought he was the guy that would kind of slot in next to Xavier McKinney. But he comes away with 2 interceptions in this game, and he looked good. He was in the right place at the right time. It's not like he was picking him. He was just in the right place. And Matthew Stafford had some overthrows and some tip stuff. But yeah, a good day for Dane Belton. That's what you kind of want to see. Bobby Okereke got his first sack. And he actually got a sack and a half, but for his first sack all season, which is crazy because of how great he's played. But yeah, it was fun, and we lost, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to lose, and if we won, I wouldn't be that upset because, it is what it is. It's fun to watch your team win.
Yeah.
But that was as competitive as a loss. And when you're rooting for competitive losses, that was ideal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how you assume that this will lead you guys into next year. It's playing strong. It's
against a hot.
Yes, listen. I don't disagree. I watched the 2-point conversion. It's behind him. I do find it weird that Saquon didn't adjust to the throw at all. It just continued don't get me wrong. I agree, not a good throw, but
Tank Rod Taylor. Do you, you think they were?
Yeah,
I don't think so,
you don't think what?
but it seemed a little.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think that was like a hey, dude, miss this by
Oh, no, no,
just
no,
a
yeah,
little.
yeah, no, 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 no. I don't think so. That would be funny
No.
though. I'd give them actually respect that they did that because it makes sense ultimately. Although a lot of guys are playing for
Yeah,
jobs, so they're definitely not doing that. The throat's
yeah,
definitely behind Saquon. I found it weird that he didn't like adjust at all. Like he continued to keep going instead of like stopping and
yeah,
trying to make a play, which you have to because it's a conversion. You get one shot, but good play design, I will say, on that conversion. You just got to execute. But it seems like play calling is getting a little better in New York, and
yeah.
it looks more formidable. If it doesn't work, it's because of execution. But that's enough. Like at
Mhm.
least you can have a little bit more confidence with Dable going into the offseason with the offense.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the O line is still an issue. Obviously, like, dude, I think Tyrod was sacked what 6 times in the first half, I believe,
Mm,
by Kobe Turner too, who's a rookie
yeah,
for the Rams, and it was almost always on our rookie center, John Michael Schmitz. I know Talking Giants did a really good thing where they like went through and they like asked the fans, positional coaches, and like how they think they do and if they should be brought back. Bobby Johnson and I brought this up. Um, Sorry, my liver's calling me. But I brought this up. Like Bobby Johnson has not developed any of these linemen. Evan Neal
right.
has not progressed whatsoever. John Michael Schmitz has not progressed
They're not
whatsoever.
only not progressing; they're getting worse. That's
Yeah,
that's what like not even trying to troll. That's what I find most alarming. They're getting worse as they're like they
yeah, yeah.
which is disaster, obviously disastrous.
And Bobby Johnson was we played the Bills earlier this year, and the Talking Giants had a good interview with a Bills journalist, and they were talking about Bobby Johnson and how the Bills hated him too. Like, and he was just brought over with Dable probably because they're
Sure.
friends. But yeah, Bobby Johnson needs to go. Like the development's not there. Tyree Phillips goes down in this game, leading us to bring in Matt Parrott, who's like was a third round pick, I think 2020, and just has not.
Right.
He's been like on and off our practice squad. Nobody wants him.
Yeah.
He's not very well, not very good. But yeah, I don't know. As much as that's also the case too, like that our offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
Right now we're picking fifth, and there's some really good offensive linemen.
All
I like Joel
mhm.
Fashanu from Penn
Yep.
State. Um, I just, I mean, like we've seen it with Evan Neal. Like Evan Neal was like at one point the number one pick in that
Yeah.
draft, and like has. I'd rather get somebody who's mid. That's like a guaranteed mid for mid cost, just to have, just in case Evan Neal is not working,
Yeah.
and then maybe you could try out Evan Neal throughout the line. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I did mention this too. The Giants have a chance. Right now we're picking fifth, but there is a pretty high chance that we move to the third overall pick
Mm.
because the Seahawks are playing the Cardinals in Arizona, and I'm pretty sure the Cardinals are like the team that always has Pete Carroll's number.
And
Not to mention they just beat the Eagles,
they did.
so
I
the
think
Cardinals
that
are
might
very
be more of
capable
a
of getting that win.
reflection on the Eagles.
Yeah,
And
which is
also,
fair. Which is fair.
apparently, the GM for the Cardinals was apparently he was heated that they won last week, which is so funny. But and I kind of agree
Yeah,
with
that is
him. But
funny.
yeah, I think Cardinals are
Well, hey, dude.
Cardinals are really
Yeah,
bad. The Eagles got exploited, obviously. But yes, go on.
yeah, and then the Patriots
Yeah,
are hosting the Jets, who I'm pretty sure are playing Trevor Simeon.
I think
So, and because of our strength of schedule,
yes.
we would move into third place if both those teams won and we lost.
Well, I'll tell you this about the New York, the Jets Patriots game. Don't play it.
Yeah.
Just give both teams a loss. It's as fitting as possible.
Hey, that would be awesome, but then we wouldn't move into
Yeah,
third.
not
So
also for
I
you,
want
not
them to
also
play.
for you, but for America. The fact that someone's
Yeah.
playing
Well,
that
I mean,
game might be a tie. It could be 0-0. I,
it's
oof, I wonder what.
I mean, hey, Bailey's. I'm not saying like. I mean, the Patriots almost beat the Bills, but it wasn't thanks to Bailey Zappi. I think he started the game like 0 for 3 with 3
Yes,
interceptions.
Zappy is definitely not. He looks a little better than Mac Jones, my baby, but
Yeah,
Zappy sucks still. There's
yeah,
not much there.
yeah. Crappy Zappy and whack Mac.
Natty
That's what
can't
they
be a
say.
Mac.
Yeah, I mean, how does that sucks so bad too? Because like the Patriots obviously need. I don't know. We can get into the draft stuff later,
Sure.
but I feel like there's a lot of situations here. But that would be awesome. But who knows? Because the Eagles are so bad that the Giants just might end up beating them at home too. Like
We're not.
we don't
No,
know here,
listen,
man.
we're not that bad.
And we'll have Tyrod from the jump, game planning.
Can't wait.
So
Yeah.
you wanna just
Yeah.
get
With
into
that
that? I
local
don't think there's really.
commentary, we'll jump into the Eagles. They unfortunately played a game. They did everything right in the first half, like they usually do. They were up 21-6, and then the defense collapsed. But more importantly, this is not a narrative that's going far in Philadelphia. The offense also stunk. Now, the offense only had the ball for 20 minutes in this game. They were pretty efficient otherwise, but they only scored 24 points against Arizona, the worst defense in the NFL. And you go, oh, the Eagles did score 31 points. No. Sidney Brown had a 99-yard interception return for 7 points.
Which was
It was
sick.
pretty cool. He's pretty fast and a
Yeah.
nice little. I'm excited for him going forward. You're not going to win games scoring 24 points against Arizona with your offense. Um, Play calling just sucks. Uh, Hurts was okay, but I thought missed a few plays that he needed to make that would have ultimately won the game. Obviously, it's not the biggest reason because the defense was just so horrible, but I thought he left some plays out there. He also has some moments that I cannot stand where he will be a design runner, and instead of throwing the ball at the
Mhm.
last second or throwing it away, because he's a quarterback and he's allowed to, he's in the mindset that he's a running back, so he'll just sit down to avoid the contact, but he'll lose 7 yards on the play. It is mind-numbingly dumb, and it just kills me. I think he thinks he's a running back at certain points, but otherwise, everybody's upset. AJ Brown had one target in the first half, just baffling. Uh,
Yeah, which is kind of how it was against the Giants
yes,
last
similar.
week too.
Yep,
He only had like one catch, I think, in the first
that's
half.
correct.
Which, like, I mean, is he a diva? Yes, but he's a deserving diva that needs
True,
more targets
and
and
I
more
think
catches.
he's not a diva like Torello. Like he's more of a better like wide receivers are just divas. That's just who they are. It's just
Yeah,
the position,
yeah,
and you sort of get. They always want the ball. They're not always guaranteed the ball. It's not easy to get them the ball in the first place because they're so far away from the field and they have to make a catch. Unlike the quarterback, who's always
yeah,
touching the ball every play. Running back is right next to the quarterback, so at least they can touch the ball, maybe make a play. 15, 20 times all those touches. It's different with the receiver, obviously, but yeah, it's just bad. They couldn't get stops. They did. They James Conner turned back their clock to rookie year. He just ran. They didn't do anything special
great.
either, which was so annoying. They just ran the ball down our throat. Jordan Davis looks awful, and apparently,
Well, dude, even Michael Carter, who is like cut from the Jets,
yes,
had an amazing game
he
versus the
had he
Bears.
had yeah
Like
he had one
9 yards
cut on
per
Eli
carry. Yeah,
Ricks that he broke for like maybe 15 yards after the. It was yeah they scorched us against the run. It's just bad. The biggest thing with the Eagles is they don't run the ball. Swift has good games, but the team we don't run the ball well. I don't know how to explain it, but like we don't establish the run, so to go to the pass. So we can't break down teams with the run because our offensive line isn't as great against with running the ball. Swift, I love DeAndre Swift, but like there's something missing from him being a premier back, from him getting 50. They need a bruiser. They need someone. They need a bigger guy to complement Swift, and they just don't have it. And I think and he's a fighter. Like Swift does a great job of getting a few extra yards, and it's great. But it's tough to not have a guy just bulldoze a little bit and fall forward, get an extra three instead of Swift having to fight back to get to the line of scrimmage and maybe get a yard to make it 2nd and 9 instead of a bruiser, making it like second 5, second 4, just because of their push. So
Yeah.
a lot of
I mean, that just surprises me too. Like, you guys have Boston Scott, who's
yes,
tiny. DeAndre Swift, who's like a bowling ball, but still a
yeah,
smaller
5'9". You're
stat
right.
than that.
Yeah, small.
And then Gainwell, who's like kind of like a skeleton in terms
Yes,
of running back. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the most success the Eagles have had running the ball this year was probably last week. Well, there might have been other times early in the year, but it was probably last week against the Giants when they were able to work with Swift and Gainwell more or less equally, and it was good. And um, they got to return to that kind of football. They don't kill clock well. They don't run good plays. They do stupid stuff. A lot of when you don't want an offensive holding from your line, somebody holds. It doesn't seem like Jalen is really good at recovering from 1st and 20, 2nd and 14. Like a lot of quarterbacks can't, but last year he was so good at it. His feet have been taken away from it. It seems like this year, because of injuries and because he probably is trying to protect himself, it's not good for the
Yeah.
Eagles. You need his best asset are his feet, and if he's not running,
Yeah.
it's just it's a very predictable offense. Besides the bad play calling, even on the quarterback too, he can't play under center. I don't think he's ever played under center in his career. And yes, maybe a few plays over the year he's been under center, but overall he does not play under center. It is really hard to fool defenses when your quarterback is not under center. Kyler Murray was under center all game against the Eagles. He had his way with us. It's doable if you're a smaller quarterback, and I think they need to teach him how to manage a game underneath, right up against Jason Kelsey or whoever center would be next year. So
Yeah.
a lot of issues. Defense is just awful, but you're not like, and that's the thing too. Like you're not going to win with this defense. Like the defense isn't going to be the difference maker. It's the offense that has to be the difference maker. That's where all the money's gone to for the Eagles, and
Mhm. You guys have the best offensive line in the league too, and like,
supposedly, yeah.
you know,
I think their pass protection is the best, but I don't think their run blocking has been anything special this year, which is a surprise. It's disappointing, and yeah, I mean Brian Johnson's a pretty awful offensive coach, offensive coordinator, but at the same time, the reason why he's here is because of Jalen Hurts, because they were best friends when Jalen was not best friends, but like he was one of Jalen's coaches like when he was a kid or whatever. So it's pretty infuriating. It seems
yeah, that doesn't always work out. Like, think about Aaron
right.
Rodgers bringing Tim Boyle over to the
Yep,
Jets,
you're right.
and getting rid of Joe
Yeah,
Flacco.
sometimes it's better to have someone who
Yeah.
doesn't have a relationship, who's not afraid to like rip you apart. The Eagles had that with Steichen,
Yeah.
but alas, yeah, it's just it. They still are a dangerous team in the playoffs. I still wouldn't want to play this team, even if I'm a good team, because you never know. But
Oh yeah, the Eagles could just destroy you. It just at any point, but it just going through your past gambit of games. I mean, the Bills game is one that like showed like throughout all this adversity. The Dolphins, you guys handled
yeah,
easy, but
I will.
there's just these games, like even the Seahawks game, and then with this Cardinals game, like you guys are also like, there's a lot of holes
Oh yeah,
and sloppiness that I feel
oh
like
yeah.
that could be exploited.
A lot of stupid mistakes made
And
every week. A hold that you shouldn't have. A false start on the offensive line. It's infuriating.
Boston Scott fumbling a
Yep,
kick return.
yep.
Like,
Just
yeah,
Dallas got it slipping. Although that, I guess that kind of happens here and there with other teams. But oh,
yeah,
it's infuriating. It's just it becomes it's like it's not fluky if it happens every week a few times different ways. It's just who you are. I think that's essentially who the Eagles are. I don't think the gauntlet that they went through was helpful. I do think that that was kind of unfair with the scheduling how that came out to be, but
yeah,
it was nice in the beginning of the year when you were taking care of business. You still should have beat the bad teams at the end of the year, like Arizona. Seattle's kind of they still should have beat Seattle too. So yeah, Seattle, I guess, was a little too close to the gauntlet, but Disappointing. Lost opportunity. It's tough.
Yeah,
You know, you go to the Super Bowl, you lose. It's the only expectation you have is go back and win it the next year. And there's a reason in the NFC a team has not repeated going to the Super Bowl since maybe the 90s as the losing team.
yeah,
There's something to it.
yeah.
It's hard.
Because the Seahawks did repeat it, but they won and then lost.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Seahawks were
Correct.
back to
Correct.
back, were they not?
They were a winning team. Exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
they were right.
yeah. But I mean, also, this is going to continue the trend. I mean, barring the Commanders, Sam Howell turning to superstar Jesus and trying to reclaim his
Right.
spot as the quarterback there. I mean, it's going to continue the trend of an NFC East winner being a different team.
It's
every
pretty
year
wild because
with
the
the
Eagles
Cowboys.
really. I mean, yeah, you can't.
We all thought it was going to be
had
Eagles.
it.
Like
They
yeah,
legitimately had it,
yeah,
and
fumbled the
and
bag.
they didn't like really earn it because Dallas also had a pretty brutal December in their own way. But it was in the they had it, and somehow we're in the situation. So pretty wild that yeah, it looks like another year where it's a different NFC East championship team.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And also, like, I mean, so Dallas had like the easier schedule, quote unquote, because they played all the second place teams
True.
now. We're in the NFC West or the AFC. What was it? AFC East.
Yeah, they played
But
the
they played the Lions instead, and you guys played the Vikings. Like, there
True.
was like things differ. Like your schedule
No
wasn't.
doubt. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that is true. And the Eagles still they hadn't made with the last 2 weeks too, and they obviously uh
yeah.
failed.
I mean, I didn't see the Cardinals beating you guys. I didn't see it being close.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it didn't have to be this way, man. It didn't have to be this way, but it is, and I'm really glad it is because it's a lot more fun to see you be a loser like me, man.
Well,
Misery loves company.
there are levels to this. Obviously, if you're not first, you're last. But somehow the Giants have, I think, rescaled that where they're worse than last in some ways. But we are kind of on the same branch. Not equal.
Yeah,
There's nothing equal
yeah.
about us and you guys. You guys are just atrocious. It's been that way for a decade. It probably will be that way for another decade.
No, 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 no.
We will write this shit.
I like Joe Shane, but we'll get into this in the off season. But like, I mean, be honest right now.
Yes.
Who would you rather? Like, what position would you rather be right now? Would you be in the Commanders, or would you rather be in the Giants? I think the Giants have a lot more bright spots and young players. I think that we also have some capital. I like Joe Shane. I like Brian Dable.
Yeah.
I like Wink. Like, I like our defensive coordinator. The Commanders don't even have a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we'll see with Wink too, because there's like rumors about him leaving.
I would say the Giants. I would also say like I don't know if that's like a great like I don't know if that's where the Giants want to be like comparing themselves to obviously, but
I don't want to be compared to the Commander. I don't want to be like, where do you
like,
see yourself?
in some ways, it's like if Washington can kind of figure this out, get a lot of draft capital, just start over and not have obviously Dan Snyder, that could be pretty intriguing too. I do think, yeah, I as a non-Giants fan who roots for like the best and trying to root for the best that they could do, you would wish, you would hope, not wish, well, maybe wish, you would have liked to have had Daniel Jones's opt out contract wise from the team be this offseason. Obviously, it wouldn't work out that way, but like it would.
And he wouldn't have signed a deal like
for
that.
him to be like, all right, let's do something.
That'd just be a franchise tag, which we should have done. Like, we should have franchise tagged him.
Yeah.
The thing is, we got greedy. We knew that we weren't going to get the deal done with Saquon, which is why
Right.
we forced it with Daniel.
Pressure too. It's tough. I mean, it takes cojones to be the Dallas Cowboys and franchise tag a quarterback like Dak Prescott. You don't want to do it. Now,
yeah.
in today's NFL,
they make the franchise tag for Daniel Jones. They're like, you have 1 year, you play one good year.
I totally agree. I'm just saying, in today's NFL, it says a lot about like you as a team and the guy as a quarterback. If you have to go through and say, we're going to franchise tag you, because it usually doesn't end well. in the end for either.
Yeah.
It just
Well, it's crazy too because all the running backs that made the case for like, hey, like we should be getting
right.
paid. Like, yeah, Christian McCaffrey might be the
Oh yeah,
MVP, but everybody also said he does deserve that money. Saquon hasn't proved to be. I mean, I think he's great. I think he's a game changer. I think our team doesn't win like 2 or 3 of the games that we did win without him.
absolutely.
To be honest, like, just as a factor, as a
Yep.
runner, what he actually contributed to the game. Like he put that Cardinals game away for us, where we actually beat the Cardinals. But like then Dalvin Cook gets cut. He just got cut. You know, like Leonard Fournette went from playoff Lenny to kick returner Lenny for the
Yeah,
Bills.
my
Like,
God. It's a tough position.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's a position that the Eagles have really missed at the position. I love Swift, but there's something missing there as a starter, and Boston Scott and Gainwell, and we have Rashad Penny, who was active last week and didn't get a snap. It's just baffling. Baffling.
Yeah, which is crazy too. And I'll tell you what, I think if Boston Scott doesn't score a touchdown on the Giants this upcoming week, he's cut. His career's. I mean, you guys just kept him for 2 games
I
a
think
year,
so
and like
too.
last week he fumbled it, and this week if he doesn't score,
Yeah, he served a purpose though that we'll always
yeah.
remember.
All right, well let's get into these games. I think we're in reminiscing. I could talk all day about both pretty much anything but football, most importantly. But let's get into which one do you want to go first? You want to go Commanders, Cowboys, or you want to go Giants, Eagles? You want to save the Giants,
Yeah, we'll
Eagles?
save them.
Yeah, let's go to both at the same time. So 4:25 Eastern time on Sunday, and this is actually like kind of crazy that it's like the Cowboys going to the Commanders and the Eagles going to the Giants. Like
Yes,
they made this schedule very much so on purpose.
it's theater. At the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Listen, I don't really know the status of Jacoby Brissett. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Also, like what I was kind of saying with the Tommy DeVito stuff earlier this year, like maybe see what you have in him. I don't think DeVito's like even worthy of a 2, to be honest. I love him. He could be fun. But at least see what you have in Sam Howell, because he showed some promise
Yes.
here. You know, and like yeah, do you want to win? Yes. Like see what's going on with Jacoby. You know what Jacoby is. So hopefully Howell gets to start. Regardless, that's not going to probably help. So the Cowboys, what? The Cowboys, they need to win this, right?
Oh yes.
To like, if the Lions win and they lose, yeah, there's no way they're benching anybody here.
Right.
They want the 2
Right.
seed. Yeah,
Unless,
and also with you guys
they
being
want to bet, unless they want to bet on themselves going through the playoffs at a worse seed, which maybe you could do, but I don't. Yeah, it's I ultimately I think it's stupid.
I think the seeding is more
Yeah,
important.
I
than,
would agree.
like,
I would agree.
a potential
I would
injury,
agree.
which obviously could shift everything. But yeah, let's be real here. I think it's going to be similar to the 49ers versus Commanders game. That's like the gap in talent. I'm gonna go Cowboys 31, Commanders. They're at home. Maybe they'll get a little garbage. I'm gonna give them 14, 31-14. I'm just gonna do a hot take for the Cowboys and a hot take for the Commanders. I'm about to do one for both. I think Ceedee Lamb continues to be dominant, especially against a very bad Commanders secondary. And he goes
This is the
for
coldest.
another. Yeah, I think he goes for 150 at least, 150 and a touchdown. And on the flip side, for the Commanders, I don't know if Sam Howell's going to be there. I'm going to go Brian Robinson touchdown. I think that's just like a safe bet. I just feel like he just came back and he scored a touchdown.
Anytime touchdown for B-Rob. I like it.
I'm pretty sure he did. Right?
Well, listen. This is. I mean, we have hopes. We have what our heart wants. We will have what our brain assumes. This message goes out to whoever's going to be the quarterback for Washington. I don't care who it is. If it's Sam Howell, if it's Jacoby Brissett, there is a little boy in Philadelphia with the name Jeremy Goode.
Oh, by the way, Oh, wait, never mind. It's from 2 days ago. I thought I had breaking news with the Sam Howell
Oh,
announcement. Continue. I
there's a
apologize. That
boy
was so
from
rude.
this city named Jeremy Goode, and he
Mhm.
believes in you. Go out there, give him a game. I have an Andrew Jackson in my wallet right now that I will gladly ship to the Washington Commanders practice facility to the winning quarterback, whoever that may be. And I have a feeling there's just 60 more minutes of fight in this Washington team. They're going to win.
Mhm.
They're going to win 21-20, and then the Eagles. I don't want to go into that, but the Eagles will do their thing. But yeah, Washington will win 21-20.
All right,
Or
cool.
who?
Yeah, bold takes for the Cowboys, bold takes for the Commanders. What are you thinking?
Bold takes for the Cowboys. Ooh, 2 picks for Dak.
2 picks. Throws
Yeah,
2 picks.
I want to be
Okay, yeah,
bold. That's the
Emmanuel Forbes. You
thing.
know what? Give them both to Forbes.
Yes. And for Washington, listen, it's also going to be ugly for Washington. Washington will. Uh, I don't know. B Rob over 100 yards on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, let's do it. B Rob's coming back. I think Christian Rodriguez too. He was out last game. I don't know. By the way, he did. Brian Robinson didn't score a touchdown last week, so he's due. He's back
If
on.
Chris
He's due
Rodriguez
for it.
is back, that changes my. I'll say over 150 yards on the ground and combined with the running backs if Chris Rodriguez is there.
Cool. I like
Yeah.
that. But let's get to the man. This is week 18. What a season it's been. Going into the last game here.
Mm-hmm.
Giants eliminated from the playoffs. We're looking for competitive wins, except they're playing the Eagles at MetLife.
Yes.
And if there's one team where I'm like, you know what, screw the draft pick. Let's destroy this team. It's the Eagles.
Wow.
I think it's the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Loser
But
energy. My goodness. Yes.
yeah, I guess it is. I mean, like, let's be real. We are
Yeah.
losers. But I also was rooting for Marvin Harrison Jr., and I still am. Like, I will take that. But to be honest, it was a close game against the Eagles in Philadelphia on Christmas Day.
Yes.
The Eagles have a lot to prove right now. Although, like I said, wait, am I frozen?
Yes.
All right. The Giants almost beat the Cowboys 2 games prior.
The Cowboys.
And that was with Tommy DeVito's the Eagles. Did I say Cowboys?
You did.
Yikes, dude. Oh, man. I'm a mess. Almost beat the Eagles on Christmas in Philly. Tommy DeVito started the game. We were essentially playing him safely to not make mistakes. And they were like, you know what? No, we need Tyrod Taylor. This time we have a whole week of Tyrod Taylor to prep. Tyrod Taylor played an amazing game last week against this Rams. It's not like this is the Eagles' defense of last year. This is an Eagles' defense that can be exploited. We've been getting explosive plays from Darius Slayton two games in a row.
Yes.
Jalen Hyatt's due. Saquon Barkley, I believe, needs 80 yards to break 1,000 on the ground. And Jalen Hyatt hasn't scored a touchdown. So it's not. I think that this is a Giants team that, first off, is not giving up. We're going to be fighting. And second off, I think it's a team that wants to at least get some accomplishments, especially against the Eagles. We're not laying down. So I think it's going to be Giants 27, Eagles 28. And my bold prediction is Jalen Hyatt, touchdown. And it is also Saquon Barkley, 84 rushing yards,
which would go to 1,000.
1,000 of the season. This is something I do want to talk about too, because if the Cowboys are destroying the Commanders by halftime, and this game's going on at the same time, if you're the Eagles, you just yank your players because you're like, you know what, we're gonna be in the same.
I think you try. I think you try to. It depends what the score is. I think you try to.
And do you think Sirianni would do?
I think yes. I think if it's into the third, and the game's over. I think so, especially because MetLife is just a field that players have awful injuries at or on. So yes, I think that could be an option. Yes,
Yeah.
but again, if you're
Um,
looking at it, like I would think the Lions, not the Lions, I would think the Giants would be
yeah.
in full tank mode for this game too, because it seems like Dable's job is safe, and like
Hmm.
it doesn't help you to win
No.
at all.
I think it's no. It doesn't help us to win at all. No. Like I said, if there's a pretty high chance that we at least move into the 4
Yes.
pick.
What's up, Cardinals?
Because I think the Cardinals. Yeah, I think the Cardinals might beat the Seahawks. I think that Kyler Murray, like, I don't care who tells him to tank. Kyler Murray is going to ball out. Like, he doesn't want to look like a scrub out there. Um, and Bailey Zappi, I think, is still playing to maybe secure himself like a backup spot for the Patriots, even though he played like garbage last week. Like, this Patriots team almost beat the Bills, so I think that they can beat the Trevor Siemian, Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle led Jets.
You
So
think, and then they play up to competition
yeah,
and then down to the others. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. We could see. But yeah, I think. I mean, I think that for the Eagles side, it's tough to see because I don't know about like resting your starters, but I think AJ Brown, regardless, wants to feast.
Yeah, it would
Um,
be nice.
uh, I'm gonna go AJ Brown, 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I want to say this is like a real coming out party for AJ Brown. I'll go.
I also like you. I bet you he wants to be number 2 at least on the receiving yards. You
Yeah,
know, he's dropped up to number 3 behind Ceedee Lamb. Like, and I think he's somebody who cares about those stats.
same kind of thinking. AJ Brown over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially if Devontae doesn't play. And uh, uh, mm, similar to last game, Eagles defense comes up with a stop at the end of the game to give them the win. Not because the defense was that good, just because right timing, and ultimately they prevail at the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. I'm not. I'm just listen. I could see this game going like a million different ways. Like, this
Mhm.
Giants team sometimes comes out and they're fighting and they're explosive and they're performing in all 3 phases of the game. And then sometimes you lose to Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders and you look like dog shit.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with the Eagles. Like, the Eagles, who you know, I think especially in these past 5 games or 3 games skid,
Mhm.
and then beating the Giants by 1 score coming to the last second and then losing to the Cardinals, man, like, yeah, I mean, you have to admit it. The Eagles right now, you're not incredibly, like, you're not going to this game thinking, man, we have something like this is a guaranteed win. Are
The
you?
only reason I'm thinking it's just because we're playing the Giants, so we don't lose to the Giants.
All right, just for that we're winning. Just for that we're winning.
Yeah,
I'm looking
I
forward to
don't
this.
feel great about this team, but like, yeah, I don't know where in all seriousness, like I don't know like the mindset the Giants are in because I get like the players are playing for contracts and whatnot, so they want to win, but like there's something about it's easy to the guys who are going to be there. I don't know. They could be checked out. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see.
No, I don't think
My,
so. I think especially watching this team
my
last
score
week,
prediction.
I don't think we're checked
My
out.
score prediction 31-24 Eagles. One score game.
Okay. Okay, at least you take it to 1 score. At least you didn't go for the blowout. So I'll
Well,
take
listen,
that. And I think
one
humbly,
of my bold things was a Giant Eagles defense final play will prevail. Maybe because Giants offense stunk it up, but it will come down to maybe that, which would be another devastating kind of game. But this is
yeah,
who the Eagles are. It looks like it appears.
yeah. Well, you know what? Hey, dude, isn't it? You guys are like good as the underdog, so maybe this is good for you
I do like
guys.
that. No one likes us. We
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah, it's a beautiful song. Giants. We have a lot of fans, but we still suck.
Yeah.
That's our song. No, our song is "Back in New York Groove" by Ace Frehley, which is a freaking banger.
When was the last time we played that song?
Um, hmm. Oh man,
Week 1 before
it's
Dallas scored a touchdown.
yeah,
It's a long
yeah.
year. I'll tell you that. Thinking back to stuff like that, pretty wild.
It's been a long year. What a dude! I don't think I've felt as miserable after a loss, especially because I'm like sick. First podcast, first game covering as a Giant, and that was like, my friend drives all the way down from Kentucky. Oh my god, it's like what the hell, man! Like that was so bad.
Yeah.
Just fell apart. I think I was like, but hey, we're back in the cycle. Depressed, can't talk. Then you're looking at the draft order every week, and and we'll
It's just
we'll see
this
what happens
consistent
next year.
cycle, yes, for you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's been another great episode of the Beast of the NFC East. As always, I'm Sean Michael Gnitzcavich with Jeremy Goode, and hopefully next week we will be talking about how the Giants just smacked the Eagles. Or how they moved to the third overall pick. I'll take either. We'll
Washington.
take either.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just get a win, Washington.
You hear that, Sam Howell? Somebody believes in you. Somebody believes. His name's Jeremy
Yeah.
Goode. He's got some money for you. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.